Yes, half of this channel's name changed, but does that make it a full name change or just a halfway name change? The first word was replaced. We discussed this extensively on Twitter. I dropped the word science because not everything I do on this channel involves it to any substantial degree, and I feel mischaracterizes the direction we're headed. Don't worry, most of what we cover will still remain technology. It's my favorite thing after all, so I don't know why I would leave that, but I don't want to be limited to words like science or tech, so if I want to upload something that really has nothing to do with either of them, but I think would be pretty cool for all of you to see, I don't want to feel, I guess, held back by any particular channel name. And that's why I went with my last name. Salazar is my last name, so it just kind of is all-encompassing. That's what I usually use to describe the name change to people who are a bit questionable about it. I know I'm going to have some people ranting in the comments about, oh, your name change, you know, another tech tuber changing his name. But look, it could be worse, okay? You know exactly where I'm going with this. Another announcement, the winner of the custom white ASUS Strix ROG GTX 1070 from Walter White version 1.0 was Ced Torres, a fan from Guadalajara, Mexico. Congratulations, Mr. Torres, you will have your graphics card at some point, hopefully within the next few weeks. Now, to the topic of this video, the ASUS TUF Sabertooth Z170S motherboard. I'm reviewing this one because many have requested it, like literally, you all wanted me to give it to you, and this is clearly a beautiful board packed with features. Let's start off with that alluring white-silver PCB. It has no functional purpose other than to make the board look gorgeous. It's one of only a select number of boards sporting this color scheme and is also reasonably priced at that. It's splattered with an army winter camouflage theme. I don't personally mind it, although it wouldn't be bad to have an all-white PCB either. And the back is also almost completely white in case you were wondering. Every now and then you'll find a hub that's painted tan. I don't know how that fits with the color scheme, but at least it's not overdone. The 24 pin is tan, the 8 pin EPS up top is tan, and then the two USB 3.0 hubs are, there's also a fan hub up here that's tan, but you probably won't notice that. There's also a hint of metallic silver lingering over the power phases. There are 12 of those, by the way. MOSFET heatsinks and chipset heatsink. The Sabertooth is covered by a large Z170S logo, followed by a subdued ASUS on the bottom. Do keep in mind that much of this will likely be covered by your graphics card, but it's a nice aesthetic nonetheless. Rear I/O is shielded by an off-white plastic housing with the words TUF, if that's how you pronounce it, TUF, and Sabertooth lined along the edges, and a shield bird further down. Is that right? A shield bird? I mean, it's a shield with wings, so yeah, I'm gonna go with shield bird. So how about functionality? Let's stick with the rear I/O for a second, where we find a plethora of options, starting from the top, 4 USB 2.0 ports, a fifth just below, a BIOS reset switch, great for overclocking, HDMI 1.4 and DisplayPort ports, I guess, 2 USB 3.0s, a gigabit LAN controller, a USB 3.1 and Type-C ports, and 7.1 surround sound as well as optical support. You can also cram a 40mm VRM MOSFET fan right here if you're a bit nervous about onboard temperatures. One is not included, but you likely won't need it. To my surprise, the chipset heatsink is also fitted with the kind of LED notification hub, great for diagnosing issues with your PC and checking on current status. Think of it like a Dr. Debug without all the confusing number codes. Each LED is extremely bright as well, so you definitely won't miss anything out of the ordinary. To the left of the chipset, you'll find 3 full-length PCIe slots and 3 X1 slots. Only this one supports a full 16 lanes, so this is the ideal slot for a single graphics card. If you intend on SLIing or crossfiring 2 of any card, both of which are supported by this motherboard, you'll be running each with 8 lanes. Now let's count fan hubs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's right, 11 fan hubs. Granted, one is just an assistant fan hub without PWM support, so fine, 10. That's more than most motherboards support and should eliminate the need for a third-party fan hub. This board also supports up to 64 GB of DDR4, non-ECC of course, this isn't a server motherboard, and dual-channel architecture for frequencies up to 2400 MHz. I've installed 4 4GB DIMMs here from Team Force. These modules are gorgeous and relatively inexpensive, rated for up to 3000 MHz. You can find these in the video's description. As for overclocking, this one's a beast as you might expect. I could reach 4.8 GHz without hiccups apart from relatively unnerving thermals around 90C, but this is a function of the CPU and cooler, not necessarily the motherboard. MOSFET and VRM temperatures remained satisfactory, and the overclock was stable, although I did ultimately tune things back a bit for the sake of the CPU. The BIOS is also a pleasant surprise, very easy to navigate through, and void of any freezes or glitches, which I cannot say for certain competitors. So in closing, do I recommend this motherboard? even with price taken into consideration? Yes, 100% it's beautiful and functional and comes with pretty much anything you could possibly imagine a Z170 motherboard packing. I purchased this one with my own money and I would do it again in a heartbeat. Oh, and I should mention it'll look great in any black or white case in particular, but especially Walter White, and all for a great deal less than $200 US. Its link is in this video's description. Check it out and let me know what you think. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down if you do feel the complete opposite, or if you hate everything about life, be sure to click subscribe, and if you haven't already, stay tuned for another future PC build, and I guess Walter White version 2.1. I gotta upgrade this thing again. It's having so many issues. I don't know what's going on. Z170 Walter White was beautiful. Version 1.0 was just a perfect, flawless build, but for some reason, now that I've moved it to X99, I keep having issues from the power supply to the graphics card SLI configuration, not getting the full frame rate I expect, and it's a long story. I'll talk about it more in detail later. Also, I'm going to be uploading a video as to why I changed from the 10-core Xeon to the 8-core 6900K. It should be pretty obvious why I did, but I'll explain in more detail the things that I noticed with the grand reduction in frequency. This is Salazar Studio. You still learned with me, so I'm still going to say it. Thanks for learning with us.